Welcome to Coffee with the County, the only podcast in Hernando County where you can learn about coffee and all the local happenings in your community. Let's plug in and get connected with your local government. Hi, I'm Dominique Holmes, the Public Information Officer for Hernando County Government. And today I have with me Rob Talmage. He is the Parks and Recreation Administrator.
Yes, hello.
And, thanks for coming on our show. So since we always start off our show with coffee, let's see your awesome coffee mug.
All right, yeah, this is my idle speed, no wake coffee mug. As if many of you are boaters, you might have seen the sign multiple times out on the water. I never really caught the dual meaning of it until I saw it on a coffee mug, and I just thought it was the funniest thing ever.
So funny. No wake.
Perfect.
It is so perfect.
Yeah.
And with Parks and Rec, you also oversee waterways.
Correct.
So that, again, hand in hand, that is the perfect mug.
Yes, absolutely.
When he walked in this morning with this mug, I said, this is Rob. This is Rob. Yeah. And then today I have my Chip mug, a little Beauty and the Beast, but I couldn't help myself. This is so cute.
I like Chip. Chip's cool.
So I love this mug. So anyways, I love to shout out a quick little coffee fact. Okay. So did you know instant coffee has been around for nearly 250 years?
Wow.
A long time. So instant coffee not only has been around for a while, but it made its first appearance in England in 1771. But it would take another 139 years for the first mass-produced instant coffee to be introduced and patented in the U.S. in 1910.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's your fun coffee fact
right.
for today. Yes. So let's talk more about Parks and Recreation. Let's talk about some of the things you oversee. So you oversee the park side, but we talked about waterways as well. So what does that entail? Let's start with waterways. What do they do? What do they oversee? Where do you see them at? Where can you see the people out on the boat that work for the county?
Yeah, our waterways department is responsible for maintaining all the signage, navigational aids, and regulatory signage for all of our waterways in Hernando County. That's a big function that they oversee, but also they are responsible for the aquatics side of this is responsible for creating artificial reefs and different aquatics projects throughout the county and the waterways along the coast of our county.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I think we even recently had a public meeting here at the county administration office for the artificial reefs.
Yes.
So you can definitely go to our website to learn more about that if anyone is interested. Yep. And then so with Parks and Recreation, you guys always have, we were joking earlier, we say that Parks and Recreation is the fun department.
We're the fun department.
So you guys always have something going on. So let's talk more. I know before we get into details, you guys usually sometimes have events out in the community at local parks. There's like flag football and sporting, leagues that, are at Enerson Snow and all the different places. So let me ask you this. How many parks do we have in Hernando County?
It's 20 parks.
20 parks?
Yes, 20 parks.
Awesome.
Yep.
And then we also have environmentally sensitive lands.
That is correct, which is another little department that we oversee as well.
Yes.
And ESL, I believe, has 5 sites.
5.
I believe it's 5. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So 25 overall. So we have 20 local parks and 5 environmentally sensitive lands. And you can hike through those.
Yes.
And you can kind of just see the beauty of the nature. And there's so many great things and recreation things to do in Hernando County.
Yeah, the ESL sites are great. It's nice to get away and get back to nature. If obviously the Spring Hill area is very, very populated. It's nice to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle and get back to nature and enjoy the animals and the wildlife there in those sites.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. I love it. So let's talk about some park updates. So Pine Island. Yes. I know that's been a hot commodity, a hot topic online. Let's give the public an update. Yeah. So what do you have to share about Pine Island today?
Well, we have gone through the process of soliciting bids for a contractor to make the repairs out there. And that process, we have awarded the bid. So that will be moving forward very shortly.
So let's talk about, I know people know that Pine Island is currently closed until this is done, but there's a public safety component to this. And I don't think people know, it's closed. You can't go in there and see it due to the public safety. Right. But what damage was really done? I mean, that storm, Hurricane Idalia came in. I mean, I saw pictures. There was the mermaids that we have around the county was picked up. That thing is bolted into cement, picked up, and that thing went for a swim.
That's correct.
And that's how strong storm surge is.
Yeah.
Just from an emergency management standpoint, we talk about the importance of how to be cautious with water, how deadly water can really be, and the damage that it can cause. So Pine Island is a perfect example to see what really can happen. And so do you mind sharing some of the details?
Well, as you said, water can be extremely dangerous, and we had two components that really did the most damage there at Pine Island. One was the water, the storm surge coming in as quickly as it did. It rose above the land area there, and as it came in, it was moving to the northeast as the storm went by. So you had essentially a strong current coming across the entire park. It was estimated we ended up with about 3 feet of water. I'm sorry, 5 feet of water.
Oh my goodness!
Over the entire park.
That'd swallow a person.
Right. And then the other component was the wave action we had. So you have this moving body of water that's rushing across, but you also had the waves that were being generated by the wind from the storm. And so with those two components hitting the park at one time, we had substantial damage. I've never seen sidewalks actually crumble, and we had a good percentage of the sidewalks in the park had the water came across and actually scoured out up on the sand from under the sidewalks, and they just dropped all throughout the park.
I didn't know that was possible,
I've never seen that before. So that was a real eye opener to the strength of the elements that came through that hit us there. We lost the ramp going to the observation deck. That was due to the tide and wave action. So that's the observation deck is there, but the ramp is not. So we'll be rebuilding that. We'll be replacing all the sidewalks.
Just gone. It's
they're
crazy.
Just all just wiped out. Our building where we take the credit cards in the entry, we call it the guard shack. That was actually moved on its foundation, shifted slightly, and then we had water damage inside of that.
Moved a building. It literally moved a building.
Yeah, it's not a big building, but it did actually shift it. It's amazing. I mean, to walk through and look at it, really you gain a new respect for Mother Nature. We had damage to the restroom building, which we've since repaired. That was fortunately minor damage. We lost some picnic tables and so forth. The sand retention fence, it's like a wooden fence that ran around the outside of the park to kind of keep the sand dunes from blowing in the parking lot. Every bit of that was ripped out of the ground and just strewn across the parking lot.
Like, this sounds like a tornado, not a storm surge, but it's the water.
It was
the
water.
Power of the water.
It was all water. And the mermaid that you mentioned earlier, she was actually located, you may have seen it in a previous video, about 1/8 of a mile away over in the marsh.
That's crazy. She
Yeah.
really did go for a swim.
She really did. Amazingly enough, someone in the community found her. He was out there doing trash pickup in the marsh, and just happened upon her as he was picking up trash.
That's incredible. And she's intact.
Exactly.
Yep.
A couple of scrapes and bruises, but other than that, good shape.
So I know the tourism department currently has the mermaid, and they're going to be able to put her back.
Yes.
So that's really exciting to hear.
She'll be the finishing touch on the repairs.
Exactly. Tie it all together.
Yep.
But I think it's just really important to let the public know, the severity of what Pine Island went through, and just the importance of the county going through the proper procedures and processes to get someone, to be a contractor to go ahead and fix up the park, which they're currently doing right now.
Correct. Yep.
So we look forward to the park eventually opening here in the future.
Absolutely.
I know people love that beautiful beach. It's our home, and we also have other beautiful beaches. We got Rogers Park, and also going out to Bayport to watch the sunset and everything.
Can't beat the Pine Island sunsets, though.
I know, they're so
it's
good.
It's tough
they're
to beat
so good.
those. So we're working diligently to get it back up and running, and we think we've got things going in the right direction, and we're on the right track.
Yes, we hear you. We know. We're
Absolutely.
doing it. We're doing the best that we can. We're doing
Absolutely.
everything we can.
Yes.
So moving on to a couple other cool things we have coming up. So Coach Lorenzo Hamilton Senior Park, what is that?
Well, this is a renaming of the park formerly known as Kennedy Park. And we're really excited about this. The opportunity to rename the park for Coach Hamilton came about, I guess, back in October when the board agreed to rename the park. Local community members came together and requested that the park be named after Coach Lorenzo Hamilton Sr. Coach Hamilton was a very, very important figure, especially in the Brooksville area, but for the entire county. He was I believe, a principal at one point at was it Moton High School, I believe it was.
He was over at Moton High School.
Yeah.
Maybe he went over to Hernando High School, and I think he was the assistant principal. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
For a little bit, yeah.
But he was also a PE teacher as well as a coach throughout his days with the school system. But he had a profound impact on the youth in the area. He was very big into promoting youth sports, and with that, all the lessons and the life lessons that are learned through playing organized sports.
Yeah. You learn all that discipline, you learn being on time.
Correct.
I mean, all the things that I feel like I've grown as a person in my life, I attribute to all the activities, the sports. I mean, I was in the marching band, but everything I did in the marching band kept me on time.
Exactly.
It kept me dedicated. You know?
So he's had quite a few of his students and his former athletes go out into the community and do great things, and one of which is even, I believe, an NFL football player.
That's incredible!
Yeah,
oh my goodness!
So Coach Hamilton had a huge impact on the county, and we definitely feel like it was time that he be recognized for that. And what better way than to rename a park where he promoted all these activities and had the youth. It was a center for the youth of Hernando County to come to, and this is where it all began. For a lot of people there, the lives that he touched. So we felt like it was very appropriate.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And so Kennedy Park is out in Brooksville, was Kennedy Park.
Yes.
It's still on, I think it's 899 Kennedy Boulevard.
Yes, ma'am.
However, now it is Coach Lorenzo Hamilton Senior Park.
Yes.
And there's a community center already there. It's already been named after him. And now he gets the whole park.
Correct.
I think he passed away, was it this past year or the year before?
A couple years ago.
Yep. With that being said, though, this is such an honor, such an amazing gentleman that made such a huge impact into our community in Hernando County. And we're so happy to be able to do that.
Yes.
The Board of County Commissioners, like you said, they approved and they voted unanimously to rename this park after him. So moving forward, Coach Lorenzo Hamilton Senior Park, that is a beautiful place to be at. There's beautiful trees and canopies, and if you haven't gone out there, a playground for your children. I mean, it's really a really nice place.
Yep.
So I'm so excited. I'm glad we were able to talk about that.
That's fun stuff.
Something else that the community I know is much anticipated for. Partnership with the Rotary clubs in Hernando County. Anderson Snow Park is getting a what?
Splash Park.
A splash park,
Yes.
Rotary Splash Park. Let's talk more about that.
Splash Park, the project is moving right along. Actually, there's multiple phases to this project. We're currently in the first phase of the project. First phase includes asphalt refinishing at Anderson Snow Park throughout the park.
Wow.
So all the areas over by the soccer and baseball areas have all been repaved.
That's highly utilized. So
yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. It was long overdue. And another aspect of the paving project is that we've brought the handicap parking areas. Everything's ADA compliant now. Wow. We've been able to add additional handicap parking areas. So we're improving the accessibility for our citizens with disabilities in our parks.
That's awesome.
As we go through with these projects, we're upgrading the ADA accessibility. So that's a big part of the phase one that's been is almost complete. The last part of the paving will be done after the water park is finished because it's the main thoroughfare going to where the water park is. They don't want the equipment on it and so forth.
Yeah.
But another big component of phase one is the building of our new maintenance facility there. Currently, we have a maintenance facility at Anderson Snow, but it's seen better days. It's been there quite a while, and we've outgrown it as well.
Yeah.
But also, too, that it was identified that would be the perfect place to actually build the new splash park, the splash park itself.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're building a new maintenance facility elsewhere on the park grounds, and once that's built and we move into that, we'll demolish the existing parks maintenance shop, and then they'll start to move forward with the actual fun part of building the splash park.
Yeah. So with Parks and Recreation and Public Information, we're actually going to team up together here shortly, and we're going to do a groundbreaking event for the splash park. And then once it's done being built, we'll go ahead and do a grand opening ceremony and ribbon cutting.
That's right.
So we have some fun things planned this next couple
absolutely.
years with Parks and Recreation, all the amazing upgrades that you guys have going on. Speaking of upgrades, let's talk about master plans.
Yes.
What are those? What does that have to do with parks?
Master plan is something we're starting to work on. We hope to have that going in the next few months here. And really, honestly, the best way to describe the Parks Master Plan is it's kind of a roadmap for where we want to go with our parks. How do we want to expand our park system? What amenities do we want to include in the park system? Maybe new parks, locations, where would they be? But a key component of that is going to be public input.
Oh, for sure.
We really, really want to be able to hear from the public. What do they want in the parks? What do they need? What do they see that we don't have now that they would like to have included in our parks? Areas that we don't have, may not have parks now that would serve the public better if we were to build one there. So that's going to be a huge part of the master plan. Is at one point we will want to have public input, and I think we'll have different platforms that'll be available to the people to give their input. But that's going to be imperative. We look forward to getting that information from the public.
Well, that's why, like, even with this podcast, we say, let's plug in and get connected with your local government.
Yeah.
We want you guys to connect.
Absolutely.
Because connecting with us, then we know what the needs are and what the desires of the public that they want to see. Like you said, this is your local community. You have a say in what we get in our parks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think about, we have like one dog park in Hernando County.
Correct.
Is that something that people want to see more of, dog parks?
Right.
We got the splash park coming. I know that's a hot commodity where different, counties, I want to say you might have to drive all the way to Tampa to get to the next closest splash park. So I think just cool stuff like that. Pickleball. Speaking of, hot commodities and what's out there, some of the park, I know we want to talk about park activities.
Yeah.
So let's talk about pickleball. I've seen pickleball leagues now. I've seen people do fundraisers for pickleball. What is pickleball and where can you find it?
Pickleball is huge. And unfortunately, right now, we only have pickleball at 2 of our parks, which will be Hernando Park in Brooksville and Delta Woods Park. We are definitely going to expand that. Right now, I think we would start with the expansion over at Delta Woods Park.
Okay.
And then as we build new parks, we would add that in. I get quite a bit of feedback from the pickleball community. They have organized groups, and it's growing daily. I mean, it's a huge thing. It's a great sport. It's essentially a little bit lower impact.
Than tennis and all that.
A little lower impact than tennis. It's kind of a cross between tennis and almost, I guess, ping pong. It's pretty neat. It's a great sport, but it gives people an opportunity to get out and participate in a great workout, but with a lower impact.
Yeah. No, I love that. And even just to think, only a few years ago, we didn't have any pickleball courts in Hernando County. Right. So again, we heard the public. Pickleball was something that people wanted. And so now you have courts over at Hernando Park and you have courts over at Delta Woods Park.
That's correct.
So I think it's just amazing that, when the public comes forward and says, these are the things that we see that we would like to have. And when we're able to do that, part of the master plan, part of the activities, what are some other cool activities you can do? And I've seen parks where there's like shuffleboard, and I've seen parks where, you have like all different types of things, basketball. So what are some things you can share that activities you can do in Hernando County in our parks?
Exactly. I think one of the big things too, as far as the master plan goes, we realize there are people that don't utilize our parks. Yeah. And we'd like to know why. Why? Yeah. Why is that? Is it the placement of the parks? Is it the amenities that are there? We'd like to hear all aspects of this, and try to figure out the needs of our community and how we can meet those needs moving forward with the construction of new parks throughout the county.
Exactly. Is it something where I think of Anderson Snow, there's that trail that people walk or they bike, and maybe people don't use parks so they don't realize that they like to bike and they didn't realize that there was a biking trail back there. Or, what do people want to see especially like you said, from people who don't use parks, it's there for you to use.
Correct.
Let's get you guys to the park.
Yes.
Get active, get healthy, have fun. This is the fun department. You
Absolutely
know what I mean?
It is.
No, but other than that, it's been such a pleasure talking to you, Rob.
Thanks,
I really appreciate you coming on the show, learning about coffee. Love your cup. It's iconic. It's very, very fun. It's so you. But I always like to end these podcasts with a fun little pun, very punny.
Okay.
So just so you know, this wasn't a roast.
Okay.
Get it? No, it was a good time. Roast, coffee roast. We didn't roast you too bad, did we?
No, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Rob. Take care.
All right.